So we are now live. Francisco, great to see you, my friend. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Hi, Gary. So delighted to be here with you here.
Oh, likewise. And I think this is the first time you and I have actually had a face-to-face one-to-one. Despite,
I'm not sure.
It feels like it.
Perhaps 6-8 months ago. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, doing this in Facebook and in live, yes, of course.
Oh, it's amazing. So look, as we get going, this conversation that is right here, right now, so it's very much just an open-hearted, flowy conversation around what's on our heart and our mind right here, right now. And I'd love for you, before we get to learn a bit more about your work, Francisco, what is on your heart and mind right here, right now, in this moment?
That is a great question. I think I'm living exciting times. I feel better than ever. As a person and as a professional. I overcame some tough situations a few months ago related to burnout or a little bit depression. And now I'm so great. And right here, right now, I'm so delighted to share like you with people like you, this humanistic mainstream, to transform workplaces and this people first approach that is so fulfilling for me. And yeah.
Exciting. Well, I'm pleased to hear that you've managed to work through what you needed to work through, Francisco. So you're looking great. And I know that you're doing some amazing work at 𝗕𝗲𝗃𝗃. So maybe as we start our exploration today, do you want to give us a little bit of an overview to the work that you're doing to try and bring more humanity to the workplace?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. No, 𝗕𝗃𝗃 is a behavioral economics company. We are approaching this from the behavioral data perspective, and we help organizations to shape people's behaviors to deliver better results. What we are trying to do is, and telling to the organization is, okay, you are looking for numbers. You're looking at numbers, productivity ratios, or performance, or even money, revenue, whatever. But you should also look at the humanistic numbers. And that means to look at the behavioral data that we typically measure, like, behaviors and behavioral preferences, like, cooperation, trust, compassion, if you are long-run oriented or not, these kind of things. We are able to measure 30+ behaviors and behavioral preferences and provide you with a behavioral map, and then link those numbers those numbers to your HRIs. It could be attrition, it could be engagement, it could be performance, it could be talent. Why not? It's easy for us to figure out these hidden links, right? These hidden insights between behavioral data and HRIs.
It's so interesting. So right here, right now, in this moment, I had my first vaccine jab yesterday evening. So I'm a bit like, whoa,
cool.
like this.
Cool.
So if I start falling asleep, just give me a shake, Francisco. But what I really love about the work you're doing is what I'm experiencing. As you know, I work in a corporate still. I have many, many people in my network globally. And there does seem to be this bridge that you are trying to build between maybe those leaders that are so used to being myopically focused on just numbers, data over here, and then you've got this conversation around how do we actually deliver better outcomes through our people. But these people here need the data. We need to meet them where they're at with that data so they can understand why humanity matters. I know maybe we shouldn't have to do that, but that's the paradigm we're coming from. So I'd love to hear a bit more about how do you actually help leaders? What is it? Is it like analytics platform? Is it nudges? Is it something else? What's actually going on with the platform?
That's cool. First of all, we need to shift the mindset, right? Definitely, we need to see more often this people-first approach. And when you have in your organization this people-first approach, you are taking into account very different things. Not only numbers, not only productivity, not only ratio, not only sales, not only profits. It doesn't mean that you don't care about profits or revenue, because if not, businesses don't exist, right? That is pretty clear. I don't have to explain you how to breathe. That's clear. We need money to survive, right? And to thrive, obviously. But what we are trying to do is, okay, there is something in your organization that is so particular, and that is your culture, your organizational culture. And your organizational culture is different from every company, or each company. It's very particular for each company because it's based or formed by your people, right? And your people behave in a particular way. We know as behavioral economists that the context affects, right? When our context, our environment changes, we change too, right? It's called adaptability, right? We need to adapt ourselves to a new environment, new circumstances. We see this often with this terrible pandemic, right? People turn to be more impatient, and because of this huge healthcare crisis. As a consequence, we need to figure out what's going on behind our team dynamics, our relationships, and that is pretty related with people's behaviors, right? And intrinsic behavior in this case. How to do it? Well, we have a platform. We have a digital platform where we assess people's behavior. It's a platform where people have to make choices. We never ask people if you are an extrovert or not, if you are future-oriented or not. We put you to make decisions about money with real consequences. That is the main difference, right? And when you are there, you are making decisions. We observe how you make decisions, actually. And then we can infer your behaviors. And you can make decisions about you, or that only implies you, yourself, and about others, right? Social preferences and these kind of things. We have what we call distributive preferences. For me, is key because we measure envy, compassion, selfishness, altruism, and egalitarianism, right? And then you can see here that it's so important because depending on how your envy level or compassion level fluctuates, you're going to be more egalitarian or not, more selfish or more social efficient or more, and that is so. It has many implications in our daily work. Above all, if we are talking about managers or middle management or even C-suite, right? It's really important.
I love it. Just really, like, this is really selfish. Like having these conversations, I'm learning more about what you're doing and going, hey, where can I try and who can I get Francisco to do more of this work? It's so important. Let's move a little bit onto Clubhouse. You've grabbed hold of it. Like Francisco is like, you're all in on Clubhouse. I thought I was all in until I saw you.
No, man, I love it because this platform allows us to be connected again across the globe. You know really well that what I love is to give back to the community, as you do daily, because I saw you, right? And that is for me so fulfilled when I have the opportunity to connect with people abroad across the globe. For me, it's so important because I'm gonna be more open-minded than ever, right? I'm not the same person since I connecting with people abroad. That's a fact, right? I encourage everybody to do the same, no matter what country, no matter what position or job or industry, no matter what. We need to understand better what's going on out of our small circle, right? And then, as a consequence, we are going to be a better person. In Clubhouse, particularly, I love communication, right? And I worked so hard to reach this level of English because for me it was really important to have the possibility to communicate in English perfectly or fluently, because perfectly is almost impossible, no, for a non-native speaker. But I'm so happy to be able to explain my ideas, to connect with people, even to host some rooms, and if I have the opportunity to give visibility to some people and connect people between each other, for me is really important. And Clubhouse is probably the best tool because it's about your voice. It's about your voice. And when you are listening to people, you can feel the emotions, right? It's what is called prosodic, right? Then you can feel, you can be even empathic, you know, listening to people and learning a lot. And, you know, and Clubhouse for me is a terrific tool to enhance my career and my personal life.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you for how much you do give, Francisco, because honestly, I put you and Steve Brown in the same basket.
No,
always lifting.
No, please. Steve is you know, is.
But for me, you are as active. You are lifting up other people. You're always trying to connect people. You're trying to let people be seen and heard. And for me, that's what modern day leadership is all about. Because guess what? There's so much insight, so many ideas across all of our organizations. But unfortunately, we still tend, I think, from my own experience and from my network, we still seem to hear the few rather than the many when it comes to ideas or challenges, or, you know, and like who better to tell you what's going on than those actually doing the job? So I'm really interested. Sorry, I seem like I'm trying to do a sales pitch for you, but I really love what you're working on with 𝗕𝗄𝗄. So tell me a little bit about how can 𝗕𝗄𝗄 help those voices that maybe have great ideas but currently are not being heard. Can 𝗕𝗄𝗄 help with that as one example?
It's a difficult example because probably it's more related with you know, some practices or your culture. What we can do obviously is to understand better how your organization looks like in terms of behaviors. No, in my organization, people typically is cooperative or generous or compassionate or whatever, and that is or trustworthy, right? Or we build trust in our organization. Indirectly, probably, if you are, you know, fostering those behaviors or assuring that or protecting that those behaviors are present in your organization, you're gonna foster communication and probably these kind of practices, right? We need to understand better this. On the other hand, we can foster diversity, inclusion, and equity. If you look at the behaviors and not the title and not the name, the race, you know, the sex or the gender, probably you are closer to do the right things, right? And that has many implications in hiring, for instance, right? We need to reduce biases because we are humans. We are biased. That is not wrong, right? But it's human. And we need to assure that we are changing our culture, our organization, and attracting the talent that we need. Not because they gender, not because their ability is obvious. I assume that you have those abilities or those technical skills or hard skills or soft skills. But I also want to know that if you are compassionate or not, if you are a cooperator or not, if you are a trustworthy person. For me, it's really important because if not, we are fostering this asshole workplace and these kind of things, and we don't want assholes, and we don't want this kind of behavior because that are not acceptable. You know, we can do many things. Even we can study it. If you gather information about, you know, how many ideas are shared in your organizations, how many initiatives, who is the more proactive or not, these kind of things, we can analyze what kind of behaviors are behind it, and then we can find the link.
Yeah, nice.
Right? It's not so direct, but we can do it for sure.
I really like it actually, because what I get a sense of, Francisco, is that I talk a lot about dealing with the root cause and not just the symptoms. So actually, innovation is a symptom of a trusting, connected environment. So I really like that you're actually focusing on the root cause rather than just the symptom. Would that be a fair summary?
Yeah, no, you're so right. And obviously, we are talking about intrinsic behaviors, right? You behaving that way are intrinsic. But we know we can shape those behaviors for good, right? If not, I'm going to give you an example. If you are hired in a trading company, for instance, that probably many people are aggressive and ambitious and, you know, selfish in a certain manner, if you are generous, if you are cooperative, if you are non-selfish, you're going to opt out. That's all, right? Because it's not your environment. On the other hand, we can do some network analysis to figure out what are the key people in your organization to spread the culture. Because you know really well, as me, that many leaders have no title. And we need to understand who are they, right? In our organization, we can do it. We can do it. We can link behaviors. We can lead network analysis, and then we can do this match. If we want to foster communication, if we want to foster participation, you need to figure out first what's going on there.
Brilliant. Love it. I'm really loving learning more about your platform, because like I say, the root cause part, I think, is something that's still missed a bit too much. That's brilliant. So we're halfway through our chat today, Francisco. I would love to know what is going on for the rest of your day today. Tell us a bit about what's going on in Francisco's world.
Well, lately I'm having busy days. I have a melting pot of clubhouse rooms, some Zoom calls. After this call, I have a call with my team talking about the new project, and we are gonna be get everybody in the same page with this project. I have some reading stuff, and many things going on. I'm gonna try to exercise to take care of myself. I'm struggling a little bit with this, but yeah, I need to recover my inner state, my daily practice. I love exercising too.
Yeah, so what do you? How is that? If you don't mind me asking, you mentioned that you had some sort of challenges to work through with regard to sort of mental health or challenges. Mm-hmm. For those that are watching us now or may listen to the playback, were there any sort of practices, or were there any sort of, what type of support did you access to try and help you move through that, if you don't mind me asking?
I think for me, mental health mental health issues are the first pandemic, right? We have COVID, but nobody's talking about mental health struggles or issues, and everybody can be in a tough situation regarding your mindset or your mental health, right? I was there literally down, living dark moments, but I overcame. I'm still recovering my inner state, because it's not easy to pass to the dark side to the light side. It's not easy, but you have to be consistent. What works really well for me is to be in contact, or to keep in contact with my people. And I have to say, here there are many of them across the globe. Olga Piller is fantastic, you know her. Steve Brown, Pereira teams, Tracy Sponenberg, Nikki Hoyland, Jeffrey Zapito, Joanna Subarna. There are many people that help me to understand better what was going on with me, and at the same time, we should take ownership regarding this situation, and say, okay, I'm in a dark moment. It's not at my best moment. That's fair. That's fine. We should be self-compassionate and practice self-forgiveness, right? It's so important. And then to step back and reflect, okay, I'm feeling this. Why? Why I'm feeling this? Why I feel frustrated? Why I'm feeling down? Why I don't have energy? You need to think about that. Because once you start to think about that, you are getting out of the situation. Because you are reflecting, you are understanding what's going on there. And for me, self-awareness and self-reflection is absolutely critical. It's not easy. It takes time. And sometimes it's tough, because you have to put you in front of the mirror, and probably you are not going to like what you are going to see there. Mm-hmm. And that is important. Accept that, right? And obviously be more focused on your worth. We should spread the message that your work is not your worth. That is so important, right? Probably you are doing something now for a living. We are working in a corporate side or whatever, but it's not your worth. You are a human. You have abilities. You have strengths, and you need to be focused on that instead of dwelling on your flaws or weaknesses, right? And for me, it's really important to make this analysis. Self-care, self-love is so important because we tend to be alienating, thinking, okay, that person is better than me. The other thing that it works really well is don't make comparisons.
Yeah.
Don't make comparisons. Anybody is unique, and you are unique, and you need to love yourself. And once you are able to love yourself, you are going to be in a better position to love others.
There's so much in that. Wow, Francisco, that's just, thank you for sharing so openly and vulnerably. And I think what you've said it many times in this chat so far, and I really want the listeners to hear and feel this. The outside world does not change until we've gone inside first. What's the stories we're telling ourselves? What's the bias that we have? Who are we comparing ourselves against? Like, the outside world just will not change until you do that sometimes uncomfortable work of that analysis you just described. So for me, that was an example 4 years ago where I sort of more or less burnt myself out. And what I realized after going on a retreat for 3 days, it was the stories I told myself. They layered up and layered up and layered up, and I went bang.
Yeah, vicious cycle, and then you need to change it.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. Like, some of the stuff that was happening on the outside was not acceptable, but what was happening on the outside didn't cause me to think what I thought. I thought what I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not a cause. Like, anything that Francisco says to me, good, bad, or indifferent, it's how I process that inside that defines what my reality looks like. I know this sounds quite deep and a bit spiritual, but it is. This is so important.
It's spiritual.
It's so important.
Yeah, and let me say that I learned this in my early stage, working in the corporate side, but obviously it's easier said than done. Don't let others control your emotion. Above all, if you don't care about them. If those people are not important for you, don't let them control your emotions, your states. Protect your energy, right? It's so important to be aware of that. Okay, probably you are a poor manager. Probably I'm in a non-people first culture. Probably I'm not happy with my job now or my situation now. What are you doing for changing it? Take ownership. Take ownership. Improve yourself. Read. Connect. Adapt. Right? And it takes time. It is not going to happen overnight. But you can definitely you can take one step at a time. It's so important to protect your energy. That is probably selfish, but we needed to do it, because if not, it's so easy to fall down, in my humble opinion.
It's brilliant. I remember we used to do a self-care chat on Twitter some years ago, and that was the theme. Remember, the theme that just kept on coming up was, we cannot be the best for someone else if we are not the best for ourselves first. Again, this reinforcement. We can give, but once that cup's empty, you go bang. Like, we have to keep our cup full. I love this. And I love you, Francisco, man. Oh, you're just such a whole human being. It's amazing to see.
I love you too, man. You are an incredible human being. I learn a lot always from you on LinkedIn and everywhere. And one thing that I love is good people typically and tends to be together, right? And it is a good example. We are creating this incredible community, raising awareness about DEI, inclusion, equality, and people first. Because there are many organizations that are not in the right side. But even though I don't care if there is a right side or wrong side, you should be in the people first side. Because once you be aware that that is the side that you have to be, your business is gonna boost, right? It's gonna scale. And there is no doubt about this. But once you understand this, once you put emphasis on building your network intentionally with positive intent, once you take ownership about your situation, you become fearless. And when you become fearless, you are unstoppable, right? That is my thing. I'm fearless, man. I'm fearless. I'm willing to do what is required to change my situation, to change my life. And quite often, if you want to change your life, you need to meet people, right? It's not about money. It's not about your job. It's not about your place or your city. It's about meeting people. People can change your life.
So beautiful. And I use this example. So I want to reinforce the work you're doing at 𝗕𝗵𝘃 and the message you're giving, because I like to play devil's advocate sometimes and put myself in that space of that CEO who's getting really pressured on the next quarter's numbers, but listening to this conversation. Speaking to you, CEO or senior leader, at my own work organization, we increased sales by 6 million and gross margin by 1.5 million over 3 years by doing exactly what Francisco is talking about. Slowing down, talking as a team, what works, what doesn't work, what do we want to co-create, who wants to take accountability, a deeply human shift that added that amount of value over 3 yeyears. So I just want to evidence exactly what you're talking about for those that may be a little bit not sure about this.
I have another message for the audience, for our audience. Leaders manage people. Bosses manage tasks. That's right. And it sounds so full when you say, I'm managing tasks. Are you managing tasks? What is that, man? You need to manage people. It's like I don't know how some businesses don't understand this. And secondly, they are not aware, or some of them are not aware, that the situation is not the same anymore. If you don't change your culture, you're gonna lose talent. You are not gonna be able to attract talent. Right? Last night, because Perry was commenting on LinkedIn about an article about the company called, I remember, WeWork or something like that. The article summarizing says, people that want to be back in the office are the more engaged. And I was, what? It's like, what the hell? It's like, what is the correlation, right? It's like, I can't believe that. But, that is about fear. Because you can't control your people. And that is not about control anymore. It's about help them thrive. It's about to create psychological safe spaces where people can bring their whole selves at work. And then, you are gonna perform better for sure. If I have, but sometimes, Gary, probably you feel the same. If I have to explain you how to breathe, man, so difficult.
What a brilliant statement! What a brilliant statement!
Yeah.
I love it. Well, look, we're looking to wrap up the last minute or so now, Francisco. So I want to give you the final word. Is there anything that people should know about? Is there any sort of new projects? The website I've shared a few times. Would you like to direct people to any of your content or your social feeds, Francisco?
Yeah, we have many things in the pipeline for the future, near future. We started to organize the next BHR Online Summit. First edition was last year, September 2020. And we are preparing the next. Probably we are gonna join some partners to this endeavor, and it's gonna be awesome. Again, we are gonna have a great lineup to share, and we are gonna try to make this event for free too, as the last year.
Okay.
And secondly, we are preparing some content, some blog pieces, some articles, because we are trying to raise awareness about, you should look at behavioral data. But to look at behavioral data, you need to measure first. measuring is so important. Assessing is so important, because if you don't have data, if you don't have this knowledge, you can't make better decisions. And yeah, it's so important to be focused always in this people first approach. And for us, it's our mission, our purpose. We want to transform workplaces in better places to work. And that starts, in our humble opinion, by knowing your people first, right? Better.
Boom. Mic drop. Finish of the conversation. Francisco, you're a joy. Always good to see you. Again, thanks for sparing half an hour with us today. You've given so much wisdom, and I look forward to seeing you around in all the different platforms.
Thank you.
Thanks, my friend. Take care.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.
I just want to say that of all the wonderful people I've had a chance to meet, it's just amazing how authentically �𝗃𝗵 shows up.
Get away from the myopic focus on just the metrics. We need to be looking at vulnerability, curiosity, what it means to be human, and have the human conversations that are so often missing in the workplace.